Today we're going to be putting all of our plants that are starting to overgrow their pots into bigger pots. I'm going to show you how to use things around your house to save money. And we're also going to be starting some seeds that we didn't have any luck with about a month ago and see how we can do with this next batch. So I hope you enjoy this. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. So today I want to talk to you about all the ways that we can grow our plants from seeds and things we can use around the house to help us as these start getting bigger. So one of the things that I do is that I save my coffee cans and then I'm going to drill some holes in the bottom. I keep containers from my coffee creamers. I keep all my old little containers that have had like any kind of fast food over the year. I save those. Of course, any pots that you have will work to transplant things. So I'm just going to put some things together and show you some things that I do as my plants start getting bigger and they're growing out of the little tiny pots that I have. I'm still another 2 or 3 weeks away from planting out my tomatoes. So I need to get some of these larger ones that I've started from seed into some bigger pots. So let me show you how I do that. So I actually had some trouble this year starting my seeds. I think some of them have gotten a little bit old. And I don't know, I just had some trouble getting them started in the little pots and containers. So I went ahead and bought a few of these little seed starting, I guess they're just like little pods. I bought these on Amazon. And I did a few of these that I had left over from last year and they all came up. These are what my Abe Lincoln tomatoes were grown from. These little tiny, they're just like a little seed starting pot. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my pot my container from this last year, and I'm gonna show you how I get those extra seeds that didn't come up started and how I do that. So all I'm going to do is put these little tiny pods inside of this container, and these are great. You just add water to them and they kind of get larger, and then you put your seed in the middle of them, and then I have this little clear top or a piece of plastic I put over it, and then all of a sudden I've got a growing medium to start my seeds. And every single one of these that I put in these little pots, you know, at the beginning of my planting, actually they all came up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again. And I'll bring you right back as soon as I get these put in here. So again, I take a piece of paper, I kind of write down how many rows I have. I've got 6 rows. And this is just an easy way to know like what you have growing. So I'm going to just start off with my stevia, since actually I need to start off and get these plumped up. So let me do that first. I'm just going to pour some water over these, and they're going to expand over the next 3 or 4 minutes, enough that we can put our seeds down. Now I know this looks like a lot of water, but these are going to like triple in size. So they're going to soak it all up. In the meantime, I'm going to start working on getting some of these coffee cans ready to plant. Another thing I wanted to show you that I bought on Amazon were these little paper, they're just like little paper, you just put the dirt in them, transplant your small plants in them, and then these, you can get a ton of these inside of these black trays. So I'm going to use these for more of the flowers and the peppers. And I also just use a bottle, and I'm going to show you a way that I can make paper pots out of a bottle. So let me set this aside, and I'm going to get started on my putting some holes in the bottom of these. And I just want to show you how easy it is to transplant different types of plants into containers. It's very, very easy. So I've already got some soil that, for example, this tomato plant has been growing in. So all I'm going to do is take this out of the cup, just like this. You can see the roots are, you know, starting to grow down. And so I am just gonna go ahead and put this in another container. Now, I may have put a little bit too much soil in here. Take a little bit out. Put this down in there. Just gonna put some dirt around it. Try to get the dirt off the leaves the best you can. I actually take these bottom leaves off because you want to keep this really in good shape. And just like this. I've got a plant now that's going to make it for another month. I picked up another couple inches in that pot, and I'm just going to put it back in here. Now this one, I've actually got 3 tomato plants growing. Now these are cherry tomatoes. I don't really need to have them really big. And this one, I'm going to put a little bit of dirt in the bottom. And I'm just going to separate some of these cherry tomato plants. Now I may use some of the existing pots that I have, but just real gently, I'm just going to kind of tear the roots apart here. Really easy. I've got a little extra one growing there that I really don't need. And I am just going to put this back in this pot. Again, I want to take these lower leaves off. And I'm just going to put some soil right around that. So sometimes I plant 2 or 3 seeds in a pot. And the reason I do that is sometimes because they are older seeds, they don't always come up. And sometimes I end up like in this situation where I've got like, you know, 3 plants in a pot. Well, they're all fighting for the same soil and water and everything else. That's not going to be a good thing for your plants. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one in there. There's a nice cherry tomato. And all I did was take that from the existing pot that I had. Now I'm going to take the pot that I had right here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of soil in the bottom, and I'm going to take one of the smaller ones, and I've got 2 plants here. I'm going to take this little guy, and I'm going to put him in the pot. Now, I need a little bit more soil because this one's not real big. And the whole purpose of this, of course, is to save money on your, you know, buying plants at the nursery or buying plants at the store. It can just be a really expensive process. All right, there you go, another cherry tomato. Now, I'm not going to put those in there. I need to label them with something. So, actually, I've got a few sticks here I'm going to use. So as you can see, I've transplanted all 3 cherry tomatoes and my Roma tomato, and they all have a little bit more room. Now I want to show you how I transplant some of these larger tomatoes. Now I'm actually going to put some of these Abe Lincoln tomatoes in these coffee cans. I've drilled holes in the bottom and filled some of this with potting soil. And all I'm going to do is take it out of the pot. You can see the roots look very good. Everything looks amazing with it. And then all I'm going to do is fill up around that with some potting soil. And this didn't cost me anything more than just a seed. I had these little pots for the last 5 years that I use. And this coffee can, I just saved it from when I bought some coffee. And now I've got this amazing pot that I'm going to be able to hold over for a month or 2 until I can get these out in the garden. And it's going to work great. It's going to give my plant lots of room to grow, lots of room for the roots to grow. It's going to work out really nice. And I like this Miracle Grow potting mix. It's a really nice medium. I use this every single year. And when I'm ready to put these pots, take these plants out to the garden, all I do is kind of harden them off as I get closer to my gardening season, and then I just take the whole thing out, and then I can save the cans for next year. And there you go, an Abe Lincoln tomato, and basically it cost me the price of a seed. Now what I'm going to do with this one, I actually put a lot of seeds. These are just some mixed dahlias. I like to have flowers in my garden. So what I'm going to do with these is this is where I'm going to use these little paper pots. And all I'm going to do is fill these up with some soil. And I'm going to take these little seedlings and put them right into my pots. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is so easy. You know, this is a project the kids can help you do. It's, you know, it's a great learning experience, talking to them about how to garden and things like that. So I fill my little pot up, and you know, you can plant these right into the soil because these roots will grow right down into this cloth medium. So let me get a little, actually I'll use one of these. Let me get some of these. And you ever have days like that where it's just hard to make decisions about anything? That's me today. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of this soil and a little bit of this plant. I'm just going to put it in the pot here, just like this. I'm just going to put some soil around it. And when I'm ready to plant my flowers out in the garden, I'm just going to put this whole thing right in the dirt. Now I know these are going to be the flowers, the dahlias and zinnias, so I'm not even going to label them. I know this is all I'm going to plant in these. So I'm going to just put these in my little containers and get a few of these done. Now I'd like to show you how I make some of these taller pots, like I have right here for my tomatoes, using these, nothing more than just some newspapers and a bottle. So I like this particular bottle a friend gave me. It's got kind of a deep little end. And all I do is start on one end of my paper, and I'm just going to roll it up as deep as I want this bottle, just like this. And then I'm just going to push this up into the bottom of the bottle. And once I get all the dirt in there in the plant, it's gonna hold just fine. And there you go. It's an easy way to make a pot without going to all the trouble of folding it. And these are nice and tall for when my tomatoes start getting bigger. And there you can see I just transplanted this tomato. It's got a nice long base, and it'll last me till we get it out in the garden. So look how swelled up these little pods got. They really did. So I am gonna go ahead and just kind of straighten them out a little bit more water in them, just because they soaked up every single drop. I mean, the bottom of these are completely dry. So I am gonna put some more water in them, and then I'm gonna start adding some seeds. Now, I'm not gonna completely saturate these like I did last time, but I do want them just a little bit more wet as we put the seeds on them. All right. So I am almost done. I've actually been working on this about an hour and a half. It's very time consuming doing all these transplants, but it's also very, well, it's just very rewarding. So this was what I was telling you about with the stevia. I ordered these seeds, and look at how many I got. That's it. That's all the seeds I got. So I am going to put these here on a piece of paper. Try to get them out of this bag even is going to be hard. So I don't know if I even got 10 seeds. I'm going to go ahead and put one of these stevia seeds in each one of these little these little pods here. I'll put it right in the center. Now I'm going to do one row of these, and actually I've got 3 more seeds, so I'm just going to put down on my paper that I've got the stevia on those top 3. Stevia. I'm just going to put an arrow that all of these, and then I think I missed one, and then the first 3 of these. I'm just going to write it. Now I'm going to take some of this elephant dill. I was really excited to try this. So I'm going to do a whole row of the elephant dill. I actually have quite a few of these seeds, so I'm going to plant these directly in the garden. So the rest I'm going to save to plant directly out in the garden. And as soon as I get all these in here, I'm going to take a little toothpick or, you know, what have you, and I'm going to try to put these down in the soil a little bit better. Then I've got these Tom Thumb lettuces. What I'm going to do is just push these seeds down. I'm not even going to worry about covering them. So I just put these seed pods up in my window. They're going to get a little bit of light from my hydroponic system here, and these are going to come up in no time. Just by putting this little bit of plastic on, it's going to create some humidity, and these things are going to grow like weeds. When they do, I'm going to transplant them into pots, and I will have about another month, maybe a little bit longer, before it's time to plant out, and I'll bring you back then and show you how everything's doing. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you coming along. I hope you learned something about how to save money getting your seeds started and getting them made into plants, and then taking your plants and transplanting them as they get bigger, and just using things around the house and a little bit of ingenuity, and it can save you a ton of money. So I'll see you next time. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing, and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.